All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this concluding session of our 1 week long FTP on ChatGPT 5.0 for academics. We have come a long way from when we started our discussions into the various tips, tricks, methods, modes, and means by the means of which we can use, customize, and look at ChatGPT through its various facets. And we are at the final leg of this presentation or this demo rather. We're going to demo some additional elements which are left to be shown. And in today's session, we're going to look at the rest of the aspects, how they integrate with our present discussion or our present baseline question that we have started with, which is broadly speaking, what the spectrum of teaching learning pedagogy in a classroom environment will look like as more and more of these platforms are integrated into the teaching learning process, if they are integrated, and at what speed they are integrated. So with that, we begin with where we left off yesterday. We are at the output version of this agent that we had seen, and we can now see what the agent has designed for us. It was supposed to design a presentation. As you can see, this is the final version of that presentation. It was basically, the prompt was to design a go-to-market strategy for a luxury hospitality brand in Vietnam. And we can see the date is from yesterday. This is what it has generated. The first slide begins with the discussion of a mentioning of real-time analytics of last year and some projections, as you can see on our screen, which is an executive summary. And after that, we have this other slide on market overview and growth as to how the market looks like. These are some of the high net worth traveler personas that frequent this market, and some key characteristics that the agent has identified from one of the articles it probably went through. The seasonality and demand patterns, which have also been shown here in the form of a graph as per the last year's analytics. There can be some changes definitely, which we can do manually also, and by writing a prompt in terms of this overlap that is coming up here. We can change the font and all that. Competitive landscape, we can see that it has generated this map for us as well. And this is what partnership and development models, which can look like location selection framework. So some minor formatting has to be done, as we can see right away. And this is the final slide. There are about 10 slides, as we can see, which it has generated in terms of the final version that it gives to us. We can ask it to read it aloud. We can schedule this. And with this schedule, what happens is that it generates this task again and again. And we can see what kind of new output we are getting when there is a major change in terms of all the information, which means the data that is updated if our final output version is that what we are looking for. Plus, I can also download this presentation from this particular tab. And once I click on it, we can see that it will download the PPT for me. It will download as a PPT file only. If you want to edit it from here, we can do that as well. Right. So this is the slide. And we can see it's pretty easy to sort of edit them. Nothing too difficult. It works like a normal PowerPoint presentation only. So this is what the agent mode does. It can do everything, as I was trying to mention yesterday, from booking of tickets, finding out movie shows, plays, everything for all of us. So this is the first sort of insight for today. From here, we're going to transition to the next important part of our demo, which is, there are two important parts that we're going to be looking at. One is deep research. I'm sure most of us have experimented with it, so we'll come back to that. And a more important one is something which I've been mentioning since quite a few days, which is canvas mode. Now, again, canvas is something which some of us may be familiar with, but we are going to see if we can use this in out of any of these prompts that we have designed for our reference. Now, also, apart from these general prompts that it generates, we can also customize it for generating specific case studies as well. We're going to try that. Let's go ahead. Let me see if we can turn on multiple tabs together. No, it doesn't let me turn all of them together. So what I can do is probably attach some files if I want to as an extra reference. No need. We'll just see how it works without any reference files. Design a detailed case study with a total of 20 questions in the following format. That is 10 descriptive questions and 10 fill in the blanks with answers to both in the form of an answer key at the bottom. The case study has to be about the course of business communication and corporate law with a special emphasis on the role of organizational communication in the modern era. The case study can be of an intermediate stage and the questions can also be of the same degree of relevance. Now we will just keep it to auto for now and we run the model. Now what we do, what we notice straight away is that it, as we saw it, I think very briefly, I think on day 1 or day 2, it gives us this short output in the form of a new box which it opens for us, where we can see that it says business communication log case. That's the title of the project space that it has generated for us, along with the title for the case study, which is titled as organizational communication in the form or in the modern corporate legal environment. With the background, we can see that the background talks about, if we expand on this, we can see that the background talks about the firm. And let me go to the edit mode. In fact, first, let's look at the download first. If I click on download, this present version without any changes, if we want this exact version, we can get it as a PDF file and a doc file. We'll try both. It will download one at a time. So this is the PDF version, pretty well formatted, as we can see. Short case study followed by descriptive questions, fill in the blanks, and the answer key follows, right? Similarly, we can also get the Microsoft Word version in case we want to edit this for our reference. We can see that this is also pretty well formatted, same output, plus a markdown file also if you want to use it somewhere, right? That can be also downloaded from here. If I want to manually copy paste this somewhere, I can copy it. Let's say I want to put it into an LMS like a Moodle platform or any other LMS that we have, Google Classroom, etc. We can copy and paste it according to our need and the platform that we're using. But there's a major difference that we noticed. This is the downloaded version. And just below this, if I put this here, we can copy it as per our reference and we can see some changes in terms of fonts and formatting, etc. We minimize this. We go to edit now. And this is when the main context window opens up. We can resize this, by the way. It's pretty simple. Just have to take the mouse carefully over here. Okay, I can increase it. This is the default size. And from here, we can rename the file itself if we want to. Same will apply here as well. I can copy it now, or the share button is now active once I enter into the edit space. Plus the downloading part is now available in this ribbon in the three dots that we have here. Right? Now this part right here that we see works in two ways. It will give us the final preview or the output of whatever we want to generate. By giving a prompt here, as we can see, I can delete this, archive this chat if I want to. Also, and very interestingly, why is it called as canvas? I think I mentioned on day 1 or day 2. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly, but this is sort of a foray which I feel ChatGPT is doing, and I think Gemini is also doing the same, by the way, in terms of a space to sort of transition the users towards both as a creative writing platform. We'll see why in a minute. And also a space where it can sort of go head to head with Microsoft Office and other office open source office platforms that we have, like LibreOffice, etc. Because it now lets me write my own content here itself. I can edit, I can change this entire setting in whatever way I want to, right? And I can save it. It automatically saves it and becomes a part of this output. This entire section is editable, as we can see. And if I want to edit a specific section, let's say I go here, we can see that a few options are already coming up. I can make this section bold, italicized, or I can change the font size from here according to the kind of heading or body space that you want to. Plus, if we go to ask GPT option, it says edit or explain. Now I can edit a certain section from here. Let's say if I write a prompt and asking it to add some additional information here, it will do that. We'll get a new draft, but we can do it much better from this part right here in the prompt section, right? So these are some of the things which we can do in terms of this output. There's a button here that we can see. We're coming back to that in a second. But first, let's go back here. So this is our final output. Now on the left side, it continues working normally the way it does in a traditional conventional ChatGPT platform, where it says here it's a complete case study title, organizational communication, with 10 descriptive questions. Would you like me to format this into a print ready PDF version, etc., which we can do if we want to, or else we can do something else. Let's say I switch over to Thinking Mini, and let's try to do something a little bit more detailed with it. Let's see if we get something very quickly. Right, I think this should work well. Okay, it is asking me to log in. I think I don't want to do that. I would much rather have a PDF file. This one will work. Yeah, there's a case study right here. Let's save this. We'll use this as our base file. Now I'm going to attach this file here. It's in the desktop mode. IMT10. Our file is now ready. And this is what we can do with Canvas. Now, keep in mind one very important thing. Before we edit this output, right, or before we change anything here, if you want to save this version, please download it somewhere or save it somewhere, because the moment when I run this query, this entire draft will be modified. I'll show you. I've already downloaded this, so we have it saved on the basis of the case studies in the document. Combine it with the present output and generate a much harder and difficult case study of advanced level learner, this time with more difficult questions. We run this again, and now we'll see the change. Let's come to the top, and this it will do the same thing like it has done so far. If you wanted to go more in depth, we can easily switch over to the thinking model also. That will it will take some more time according to that, but it will read through the document. Then
So
we will
scroll to the prompt. थोड़ा ऊपर करिए.
who's
We will read your prompt, sir.
okay. Let me copy paste the prompt also. Right. So once it starts generating, once it has been thought for 30 seconds, it is now generating the. We can see the thought process here as well, and on the basis of that, we should be getting a updated version right here. Let's see what happens. As we can see, a new output is coming out just below the previous one. If I close this, this is our next version. Advanced case study. This is the new version it generates. Earlier, it used to discard the previous draft. It seems they have now retained it, which is a good thing. So it is still generating it. That's why the download. Okay, now we are ready. So this is the detailed version now. Veritas Global, same name. It has combined both the elements for the information from my base document plus whatever it was available here. We can see the length has increased now simply because I've switched over the model. We have the size of the questions has also changed. They are multi-layered questions now, detailed questions basically. Fill in the blanks, answer key, etc. And then end of document. In this manner, we can create various different versions and editions of the exact output that we are looking for. Right? I can tweak this further. I can easily switch over to the thinking model, and I can generate various drafts or versions with it. Let's see if it does something else or not. Create a model chart for business communication and organizational communication using the case study with additional questions. Now let's go to create image. So canvas and so we switched over to the create image option. Let's see what happens. I'll skip the thinking part for now. Let's see whether it generates. I don't think earlier it doesn't used to generate. It didn't generate output in canvas, but now it seems they have added that also. This is something quite interesting. We can see that the question is being modified. The questions are being modified as we can see, and this is a conceptual framework. It's not exactly an image which is generated. This needs still. I think this still needs some work. Ideally, it should have come up with an image file. Let's see if it comes again or not. Create a picture image of the framework with questions. But this is what I was referring to. As we can see, the previous version has disappeared, and it has modified the current version with the conceptual framework and new questions. Let's see what it does now. Again, it will modify this entire output. So each time we want to save the previous version, we have to download it, or we can simply copy paste it in another normal chat, and we can save it as a form of a chat in our chat history also, depending on what we prefer in terms of saving our creation of our resources or database. Let's see whether this image gets transitioned here or not. Then we'll move to the next part. So it should be generating an image for the model, and that if everything goes well, this image should be reflected here. So while it is doing that, let's not waste time. We are moving ahead with our next part of the demo. We'll come if it generates quickly, I'll come back to it. So there's another additional feature inside of ChatGPT, which is pretty interesting. from a learner's point of view at least. Let me see if it is finished. I'll just wait for a few seconds more, otherwise I'll transition and go ahead. And then we'll come back to this because it will keep generating in the background. So that's fine.
When we generate pictures, there are a lot of spelling mistakes, and the
Yes.
pictures text form. It's not in text form. It's as a graphic or it's as a bitmap like thing. So
Yeah.
how can we edit it?
For that
I
we have
think
to
there
give
was a
a
picture.
for that we'll have to give a precise prompt of what exactly is the output that we want, the specific schema of the image, or else a better way out is to give it a similar image which you can learn from and combine it with a prompt. But I would be the first one to say that images is something which I think they need to work on. Gemini does a much
uh,
better job of creating images.
Gemini. Gemini is
Yeah,
much
yeah,
better.
yeah. Definitely, it's better than this.
But
But since
Canva
this
is
has
much better. The text is given as
definitely,
text itself.
absolutely, absolutely. But
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is that once these models become quite more powerful, we would be able to ideally integrate them in the creation process itself.
Yeah.
So as we can see, there's a problem here. The text has been cut off. So this is a major limitation with the image generation capability of ChatGPT, because somebody was asking about images, I think, the other day or before that. So we are now coming back to our present case study.
Yeah.
Somebody's mic is on. Can I please request you to mute? Thank you. Okay, let me switch over to the another case study because for that we need that output. So we are back with the previous version. Now, apart from this edit version, we also have, switch over to Canvas, this button right here. This is perhaps the most important part when it comes to Canvas, because if I click on this, we can see that there are four options that are coming up. Starting with the first one, which says suggest edits. Now, this is a very important tool from multiple perspectives, right from a language correction point of view to the quality of the draft that it's generating. What it does basically when we click on this is that it runs through its own content and it suggests the edits according to its ability to analyze this part. So it assumes somewhere or the other that the user has also added their own point of view in the output that's given in the Canvas version. So if I click on this, as we can see, it will go through this entire element and I have to select which section I want edits to be suggested on. Let's say this paragraph. I think I need to select this. Let's just select the case study. Yeah, it had to be clicked twice. Now, as we can see, it is running and we should be seeing some edits right away as soon as it finishes going through the draft, that is. Since the draft is slightly longer, might take a few seconds. Let's just give it those few seconds as it goes ahead. In the meantime, in case it is going to take too long, I will transition over to the next part, which is study and learn. Just give it a few more seconds. Yeah, there we go. So this is what edit does. Pretty powerful. This part works quite well. So this is what the power of Canvas mode is. And before we go any further, my suggestion right away would be, please don't put any of your content directly here. It basically does the same thing that we were discussing yesterday. In order to suggest edits for us, I think I think it was ma'am who was talking about putting a draft of a story which she had put in this for some suggestions, and then it comes under AI for similarity index. So if we at all we want to get some ideas and some suggestions, we can put a version of our draft, not the original authentic idea. That's the first part. I'm talking about our own content. If you want to iterate on its own versions, that is fine. So the moment when we come to this part, which is highlighted, we can see that it has suggested something to us. Let's see what the suggestion is. If I click on this, it will automatically apply that suggestion. Split this long sentence into two for clarity. First sentence is state the leak, what, when, and where. Second sentence, specify the legal frameworks that are implicated. It is asking to fill in that information that's missing. And if available, add a precise date or month. Also consider replacing internal communication portal with a more clearer term, which is intranet or internal knowledge workspace. So readers immediately understand the channel. If I click on this, I can or alternatively see that this part gets highlighted, which means it is telling the user which section of the passage the edit has to be applied to. And if I click on apply, it will edit this section for me now. It will go through and make those changes for me and give me a more updated version of the same draft basically. But this change would be applied only to these 4 lines. For the rest of them, we have to do all of these edits according to the suggestions that it has given. Now we can edit, see it is working right here. As we can see, there's a small bubble that has come up. We can do this edits manually also. We have already seen that the canvas allows us to manually edit information as per our requirement, or it will edit it for us. As we can see, I think what I need to do before now going through a prompt is switch over to instant model. Oh, there we go. This is now generating a new draft. Let me come back to canvas mode. Okay, there's some problem. It should be giving me the output directly. I'm not able to see the edit option. Let me go to a new chat and I'll come back to canvas mode again. This happens sometimes. It will get stuck and we have to just switch back to a chat outside and then come back to it. We can see the rest of the edits. I'm not going to apply them. We know how it works now. So let me just put a paragraph here. So as we can see, in this manner, we can simply edit all the suggestions that it has given to us, right? And this is the first thing that we can do with this button. Apart from this, this is another very important setting which we can do, which is adjust the length. So if I click on this, there is a slider bar that I get. This is the current length. If I take it upwards, the length of the passages will decrease. And if I take it downwards, the entire passage will increase in size. Okay, it's the opposite, I'm sorry. Downwards means shorter and shortest, upwards means longest. So if I click on longest and if I click it on again, now again it will reframe the entire version for me. Each time we make an edit, the previous version is slightly modified. So each time if we want to, especially if we want to compare the quality of the various drafts, as I said earlier, we have to save the word drafts in the versions
मेरे
somewhere.
फोन पर ना पहले मुग्धारी आईडी से जुड़ हुआ था ना, ये मैं अपने
Somebody's
से
mic
जुड़ा
is
तो
on.
साफ ही आउट हो गया।
Can I please request you to mute?
मुग्धारी आईडी मुग्धारी ना आवा था, ती मुग्धारी मेल थी ना।
I would request the participants to please keep the mic on mute. Otherwise, I have to switch over the screen and it will break the flow.
Rita ma'am, kindly switch off.
No, I have done that for now. It's
Okay.
done. Yeah. Right. So as we can see, the draft is much larger now. Pretty pretty much like a small essay basically. A timeline follows intended learner objectives. A lot of it has been added. Descriptive questions with a prompt of how it is supposed to be discussed. Fill in the blanks. Answer keys also more detailed. They're still generating.
Sir, 1 second, sir. 1 second. Sir.
Yeah.
I mean, like we can just scroll down and I mean, like we used to do is please concise it or expanded. We don't have
Yeah.
to give a prompt, right? You can just drag it, right?
Yes. With Canvas, you just have to drag it. It will
Okay.
do the rest of it. We can select a level and according to that, it will do that for us. Right. So this is the final version as to what it looks like. The one limitation that this has is that sometimes this is the second time it has happened, or it takes a few seconds for us to before it allows us to come back to the editing part. This is the final version. I can download this again if I want to. So this is the length part, right? Downwards means it will shorten the length. Upwards means it will increase the length. Reading level. This is also very important. We have expanded the draft, but if let's say if we want to increase the level of difficulty even more than this, we can do it by prompt also. Just to answer the question again, I can write the prompt here, make it more concise, make it more detailed. If let's say I want to add specific vocabulary, all that has to be still typed here. But just to increase and decrease the length, we can use that option. Similarly, I can use this to make, if I slide this downward, we can see that it changes from middle school, kindergarten, all the way. This is the current reading level, high school, college, graduate school. If I take it to graduate school level, it's already quite advanced. Probably, actually, it might go down in quality in this particular instance. That's a possibility because already with the previous draft, I've asked it to make it more advanced. But let's see what happens. We are anyways exploring the options. So yeah. So I think it's become more organized There's an executive summary of the case study with contextual background and chronology of key events that are happening. So what also is happening is it learns from the previous draft, as we have already seen so far, and on the basis of that, it keeps on iterating on the same idea. So the thing that we were trying to automate with projects, it automatically does that here, bringing all the context together and learning from it. And we can see that it's still generating. So this is another very important setting inside of Canvas. So Canvas really lets us experiment. It's as its name suggests, it's made to be a blank canvas which we can experiment on and try out multiple combinations and permutations and see what best works for us. So that's the primary usage of the Canvas mode. And it gives us a select bibliography also this time, pretty interesting. Up until now, it was saying end of document, now it is saying end of dossier. So it has tried to stick to the proper vocabulary and learning level or the reading level for graduate school case study for an MBA program, apparently. So as you can see, again, see it has stuck. I'm not able to see this button right now. It happens sometimes. I just have to switch over. In case it doesn't come, I have to switch back to the, oh, it has come, great. It takes a few seconds. This is another part. Now this add final polish, it basically will make the draft much more creative also, and it will make it polished as the name suggests. It will change the entire draft again if I do that, and you can try this out, compare your draft which it generates on a prompt and all of this versus the final polished version, see what it does. And this one allows us to add emojis in 3 parts. This is something in case we are experimenting with creating social media posts. So Canvas is also originally designed to do that. It's basically designed to create creative drafts. So I can ask it to create a LinkedIn post for me, right? Or more than that, I can give it a set of, so somebody was talking about blogs yesterday. I think it was Babu, or if I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly. You can give it a copy of your blogs, for example, ask it to iterate from that and give you the next version of your draft, add emojis from there, and sort of make it slightly more advanced and see how it works. It's just basically different versions can be compared together. So this is the Canvas mode in a nutshell. If we have any questions at this point, this is a pausing point. If we have any questions up until now, we can take them up. Otherwise, I'll go ahead. We're going to the next part. Any questions? Any queries? Anybody would like to ask anything? I'll just pause for 2 seconds and wait. Otherwise, I'll move forward. All right. I don't think we have any questions coming up. So let's switch over. The next important element that we're looking at is this part right here, which is study and learn. We've seen Canvas. This is something new. And I think I again mentioned on day 2 or day 3, I don't exactly remember which day, where I said that these models are, this was in response to a question which I think had come up on what is the role of teachers in teaching going ahead with these AI tools. So I responded to the idea by one of the points which I mentioned was that these tools are now trying to enter the space of education. And 2 important, very evident facts which sort of I wouldn't exactly support my argument, but sort of adds on to it is this feature right here, which is study and learn. Again, I'm sure some of us may have experimented with it. And by the way, Gemini is also doing the same. It's not far behind. The same feature is available in Gemini as well. If you go here, guided learning, they call it slightly different. Canvas, they both have kept the same name, but this feature they have given different names. Plus, another thing which ChatGPT did some time ago, which is this part right here, which says ChatGPT EDU. Just like they have different versions of ChatGPT, they have an educational enterprise version also, by which they are providing campus-wide access to very advanced features. One of which probably is the access to this model, which we don't have at a discounted rate. Perhaps I'm not sure about the exact specifics, but they are providing campus-wide access with multiple licenses, and these are the elements which they are saying that they are doing that and with combining with various campuses across the globe. And I think there were some very interesting examples of how students and teachers are using it currently. For example, if I go to faculty, there were some options. I cannot see them right now. Just a second. Let me see if I can find it.
So can
Yeah.
I mean, like, supposing I see a course on Coursera, which is,
Mhm.
I mean, very relevant to my subject or my this thing, and can through ChatGPT, can we have an access to that course, the content of
Uh,
the content?
I think uh, if it's a paid course, I don't think certification will be given. But without that, also directly on Coursera, you can audit the course, right? I don't think
Yeah.
there's any requirement of ChatGPT for this. If you
Okay.
want to do a prompt version of that, okay, that is fine. But otherwise,
Mhm.
Coursera directly allows you to audit the course in
Yes,
certain
yes,
cases.
yes, yes,
It's
yes. The
different from
content
course to
can be
course.
accessed.
Yeah, yeah. So that the rules of operationalization remains the same there also, because they're tying up with these platforms, right? So I don't think they will allow us to bypass that.
Okay. Sir. Mhm.
Just a second. Now let me find this if I can find that exact page. Let's see if this is the one. Yeah, there we go. These are the three case studies that OpenAI has put on their blog. By the way, I would suggest some those who are more interested in keeping a small track of how ChatGPT is working going forward. Please keep a track of their blog. Their blogs are very interesting. So this is the part where they're announcing this particular version of ChatGPT, ChatGPT EDU, which is well for specifically universities, and how they're using them today. These are some three examples. This is one faculty at Columbia University leading initiative to integrate AI into community-based strategies to reduce overdose fatalities. Undergraduate and MBA students in Professor Ethan's courses at Wharton, for example, completed the final reflection assignments through discussions with the GPT trained on course materials. We're going to try that. That's the last part today, creation of a GPT. And the third one is being done by this faculty also, which is who is developing a custom language model, the GPT to learn German language, if I'm not wrong. This is from Arizona State University. Yeah, they're calling it Language Buddy. And I think they're going to deploy it in the upcoming semester, or they've already deployed this. I don't know the exact timeline, but they're going to try and see how this works in the class. So it's already happening, I mean, as we speak, right? It's not something which is in abstract anymore. They are experimenting with it, as we can see very clearly, right? So this is something to be on the lookout for. So coming back to the feature here, this feature is for study and learn. This is actually designed for learners primarily. So depending on going back to our discussion on how we can constructively use these platforms, somebody was asking that question again yesterday also. So we can let students experiment with this by a guided mode of learning, right? Make small groups with them, depending on the accessibility and resources, of course. Let them sit around, use a few devices, give them some topics. We'll do the same thing. Let's do this. I'll upload a file, same file, because that's the easiest one we have access to right now. Now, if I upload this on a normal ChatGPT version, let's say this part, this is a normal version, right? We'll see the difference right away. If I give a prompt like this, let me switch over to the auto model, otherwise it will take a lot of time. So now what the normal version will do is it will directly give me all the model answers for this, which students can directly, sort of, that's what they normally do. Then that not, I'm not saying this is a generalized statement, but this is typically what happens. But with the newer version, which is the guided learning model, it's going to give us all the answers. We know that, right? Now, if I take the exact same prompt, if everything works well in the study and learn mode, see the difference. It is first going to read through the file. It might take a few seconds for us to generate it. Let me close the extra tabs. So as you can see, it is giving me a prompt instead of answers. So it is nudging the learner to take a more constructive approach. It is saying, are you learn how to answer each question step by step so that it can explain the reasoning behind each question? Or do you want a ready model answer? It can give that, or else this is what it does. Since you are in study mode, I first suggest we take the approach and walk you through one question at a time, show how to frame the answer, and try drafting it in your own words. So if I do that, ask you to do that, it will do that. But let's do something else. Teach me the topics question wise with all the relevant details. I am new to this course. We can easily speak to the model also, by the way. This will work directly in case we don't want to type. So, right, perfect. That's exactly how we'll do it. We'll go question by question through this worksheet and teach you each topic in detail. So we can see the difference right away. This is the first question. Describe the ways, core ideas. What does common ground means? It gives us some information. Common ground is so and so. If you're, and then an example of that. Step 2, how to adapt to your audience. So it gives the user information around the question or the topic instead of directly asking that. Now it again asks me a question. Since we're in the same chat where I gave this prompt of model answer, that's what it's saying the same thing again. इसलिए वो वापस ये पूछ रहा है कि should I give the mini practice or should I give the model answer? Let's practice. Teach me how to write better. And look at the language. It's pretty motivational. Motivation in the sense it nudges the learner more towards the constructive usage part of the model itself. Question again, will follow 3-part simple structure you can use in every such answer. It says constructive answer like this. Give an introduction of 2 to 3 lines where you define the idea or concept in your own words. Explain this question. Now this can be actually displayed on the projector, right? We can walk the students through this process and show them that these tools can be used constructively rather than directly getting answers, and see how they can help or aid the process of design thinking or multi-level thinking or critical thinking also. Case studies can be done in this way. Or if we don't want to do any of this, let's just simply go to a new chat, right? This is useful for us also as learners when we learn a new topic. I am new to AI. Teach me how chatbots work. Just as easily, it can teach a topic. I mean, it can help in teaching a topic also. I won't go so far as to say it teaches a topic, but it starts from a very basic version. What is a chatbot? It starts from step 1. Step 2, basic type of chatbot. Step 3, how AI chatbots actually work, key concepts, quick activity. If I build a chatbot that only gives specific answers to preset questions, is it rule-based or not? So it actually tests the user also, whether the user is reading through the content or not. And on the basis of whatever answers I give, it will design the further content for me, right? And apart from that, if I go back to the new chat version again, let's do study and learn. Teach me how to write Python code in real time. Another small example of what we can do with study and learn. Do real time, give real time projects. Let the students debug the errors. Right? It is Regis thinking apparently. Maybe because I have uploaded some document. Let's see. Let's skip this. It is asking me for follow-up questions. Are you completely new? Or do you know any other language? What do you want to do with Python? I am new. Very simple, like a student would answer. My goal is to code, very brief answers, and build apps. So it can understand that kind of a language as well. So they've tried to design study and learn version according to that. Phase 1, we'll learn the basics. As we can see, we'll learn by writing in Python code here. Input, output, first Python program. Phase 2, let's begin right now with the first code. Here is the first Python program. Try typing that line yourself and tell me what do you think the last line does. Can you guess what the printf means? We'll copy this here and answer this. It will print the word hello world. Let's see whether it is going to give us some feedback or not. It will do that, of course. Try the next one. Can you tell me what this? Now we can actually do this, by the way, right? We can get the students to do this also as an exercise. Two versions, two windows of ChatGPT can be open. This is the new code. I simply go to a new chat where I copy paste this code, run it, and we can see we can have an explanation for this. Or else, another thing. There we go. It automatically run that and give us the output. This code uses input this and this. It doesn't, which doesn't work in the environment because it can't take user input. If you want to see what it would do, here's how it behaves. And that's the output. So it can't run the code here, of course, because we have not given it the necessary correct commands and all the proper appropriate script and all of that. But it shows us what the output is. So this is what study and learn. It does. It's basically designed to do guided learning, right? Any questions on this part? Anyone? Or can I go ahead? All right, let's move ahead very quickly then. We're coming to the last part, which is perhaps the most important part out of today's all the sections. All of them are important, but this one is slightly a bit more on the technical side, which is we all know that there is this GPT store, like a Play Store that we have where all our GPTs are available. But some of them are also GPTs which are created by users, right? So we can create our own GPTs. So the other day I showed you some GPTs which I have been sort of tweaking a little bit on. And there are some which are, I think I need to delete them right away. Otherwise it will take up more space and delay our outputs. Let me just delete all the untitled ones. These are the three currently available GPTs, this is something which I demoed earlier. These two are the ones that I keep on working on. This one is a qualitative analytic platform, and this is a quantitative analysis tool. And now, I sort of created them in the early days when GPT creation came around. Now we have other online platforms which let us do data analysis and sort of research-oriented tasks by using AI, right? Even Microsoft Office has started giving that to us, if we know that, right? So I'm still working on that one. It's a pretty fun project to sort of work on whenever I have some time on my hands. And this is something which was designed to simulate mock interviews for practicing of students and let them experiment with mock interviews using custom GPT. We're going to do something different today. We're going to create a custom GPT. So what we do is, in case anybody's missed it, it's available in this option, GPTs and create button. Once we do that, we are brought to this part right here. And by the way, I am going to work on what we call as a no code format. So just a disclaimer, I do not come from a coding background. I don't have any technical knowledge of coding. I'm just going to give it prompts, and whatever output comes here, we're going to view that. I'm experimenting currently with how coding works. So I'm still developing that because my core domain is literature. I think many of us would know here. So just a disclaimer on that. So before going ahead with this part, but that's also the important part. Even with no knowledge of coding, this allows us to talk to the platform and at least see an iteration of what it would look like, right? Let's go ahead. Very simple question. It starts out with, hi, I'm your GPT builder. What would you like to make out of this GPT? Before we go ahead, there's a configure tab. As we start adding information here, we can see that it will fill up this information for us. I just want to turn on this option. This is very important, code interpret and data analysis. And now we go back. I would like to create an academic assessment GPT, which can assess all kinds of my student assignments for all of my language and literature courses. Let me see if I can speak to the platform. No, if I do that, there'll be an overlap with the mic, and also let me type only language literature courses and courses of communication, comma, soft skills, comma, training section. This is the primary broad objective. So each time we give a prompt where it is supposed to do something, we notice that we can switch the model from here by the if we want to. It starts thinking. I am starting the process by identifying our goal. And it has thought for 7 seconds. Let's see if it allows me to switch over or not. I have set an initial behavior tailored for assessing assignments across language and literature, communication, soft skills. It supports rubric-based and rubric-free evaluation both, formative and summative modes, transparent scoring, and concrete actionable feedback. I also set up helpful prompt starters and a friendly welcome message to students, or you can drop in work for quick or structured assessment. This it first asks me what we should call it. The name it is suggested is that it is an academic assessor. It has also created an initial profile image for it, which is an icon which will come right here, as we saw with other GPTs, which we can change if you want to. Meanwhile, try it in the preview mode. Go ahead and create this much. So now it will, this part is very important. Each time you want this GPT to update, this button has to come, this purple icon. Now it is generating a profile picture. Now we'll be seeing the preview once it finishes doing both of these elements. So a few prompts will come here, and also we will be having an icon which generates. So we can see the model is ready to go. It has started sort of working. This particular profile icon is not working properly. Otherwise, the GPT is functional basically. But let's generate the profile icon also. Hopefully it works, and we should be getting a profile picture coming up right here, like the likes of which we saw earlier in the 3 GPTs which I have created. In case it doesn't come again, there's some problem with the image creator right now, so it is not giving us this. We'll come back to it. Now let's go ahead. Now let's just make it slightly more powerful.
It's giving the option for uploading also.
Yes, but seems this option is freezing. I need to refresh it once. This happens with the GPT builder sometimes. You are back. Let's continue where we left off. Oh, yeah, now it is letting me upload files and more. Add photos and files, I can do that. However, what we wanted to do is something else. Browse the web and visit the websites of Cambridge English Language Assessments, comma, TESOL. TESOL stands for Teaching of English as a Second Language. TEFL is English as a Foreign Language. And IELTS and GRE. Learn how they all work. Make their rubrics of assessments a part of your knowledge base. So, I mean, this is not exactly how the original GPTs are built. I mean, means how ChatGPT would have been built, because it would have taken a lot of information. Wait a second, why is it not? Web search is turned on. There is some problem with this. Let me first create this. Then I think we should tweak it further, because this message should not come. We have enabled the web feature option, so it should be able to browse the web freely. It does that. I think now it should work. Let's see what happens. So if we can see that the model is getting confused. On one hand, it says that it can't browse the web, but on the other hand, when it is letting me say that, however, I can enable or configure this, when I do it, ask it to enable it, it says this is already done. Right. There's some problem with this today. It usually browses the web on its own, because if you go to configure here, you can see that the web browsing feature is turned on. So either they're updating this in some manner, or there is some problem with this particular feature right now, just like the image creation, because it automatically browses and lets us update any information in real timing that we want to. Plus, this is also not working. It allows us to have access to all these options that are coming here on this part also. So there is some problem with this. Let me try another feature. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works like this. Based on your knowledge of IELTS and TOEFL, add those rubrics to your knowledge base. Let me try switching over the model. Let's see if that works. Okay, this one seems to be working. So it means it has some information about these two examinations. Now we have the correct output. The academic assessor, which is the bot, basically now has full knowledge of IELTS and TOEFL writing rubrics. It can assess student work according to the official scoring criteria. Would you like me to also add IELTS speaking and TOEFL speaking? Yes, add the rubrics of speaking, listening, and reading too. So we'll add all of them. Then I'll try the web feature once more in case hopefully it works. Yeah. Then see, it automatically learns from our previous prompt. Now it is asking me, would you like me to add CEFR level to this? CEFR is Common European Framework for Reference of Languages. So each time I give a prompt, it sort of learns from that and adds on, and ends up building on its own knowledge base. This is similar to how tools like Notebook LM work, where they allow the model to learn from their previous interaction with the user and the requirements of the user. See, next again. Would you like me to add Cambridge English following levels? Yes, let's add that as well. So now all of these rubrics, which would be ideally used for assessing any of such submissions, are a part of the assessment pattern of this particular bot. So if everything works correctly in this bot, when I provide my sample input of a writing test or a reading assessment, it will automatically assess that for me. It is now telling me, should I add Pearson test also? So now it knows that it has to now look for other such tests. Now we'll stop with Pearson and we'll see if the web browsing is working or not. So, and then we have to click on one final update one time, because all these updates are inside the preview. It says updates pending. This is one very important thing. Whatever changes we are making here, they will come to the preview part. But in order for them to be a part of the live GPT, which we can use like a normal ChatGPT version, we have to click on update as well. Otherwise, they will not work. So we can see that the update is happening on the top right here, and the share button is also getting updated. And every time it will say that whether I want to invite somebody or if I want to put this in the public domain, etc. Let's try one more time. I don't have live browsing access inside this editor. Let me see if this is working. 4.1 पे चलते हैं. Let's go to 4.1. And let's try again. This seems to have disabled it for now. Otherwise, if this is turned on, it would allow me to automatically browse the web, canvas, image, data analysis. All of this used to happen from here. So it seems I've temporarily disabled it. Doesn't seem to be working. Let's try one last time. Otherwise, I'll go ahead. It's not working right now. So it seems this part has been disabled from here. Okay. So according to this, I can add additional files of my rubrics. That part is still working. But again, this is something which is not coming up, or now it is taking a few seconds. I can add those files, and even those files can become a reference, just like projects that we have seen earlier, and they can become a part of the knowledge base of the GPT. And with that, the GPT is ready to go. And once this final update happens, we can simply go ahead and test it. If I go to view GPT, we are inside a GPT now, which is live for being used. And there are some prompts. Let's say I give it a prompt like this. Give me a task of IELTS writing and score the same for me. Right? There we go. Let's start by setting up our IELTS writing task. The IELTS is 2 writing tasks. Task 1 academic, task 2 essay. If you like to begin right away, here's a sample writing task 2. Some people believe that the students should study subjects it will be useful for their future careers. Others argue that students should be able to freely study subjects of interest them. Discuss both points of view. Then it says this is how you will be scored. You will receive a band on following criteria. And it says, would you like me to give academic task 1 or just assess task 2? I'll say just assess task 2. I don't want task 1 right now. So this is the final task which it is giving to me. Okay. Let's try the assessment part, which is actually what the GPT is supposed to do. I'll get a response from GPT only. Right. So this is very interesting because I'm asking you to write creatively. We can see that it's entering canvas mode. Right. It sort of opens up this box where I can, it won't allow me to edit it per se, but I can get a draft. So this is my answer. Let's say this is the answer the user has given. Now it should assess this directly. Excellent. So and so. Task response band is 8.5 based on this rudimentary understanding. Essay fully addresses all parts of the task, coherence and cohesion. Lexical resource band 9, and overall the score is 8.5. Would you like me to show how essay this could be rewritten to band 9 level, keeping your ideas about enhancing lexical and rhetorical sophistication or not? So this is in brief how GPTs can be created. Unfortunately, the 2 or 3 additional features of writing code, etc., not working in the GPT right now. If they were working, we could have made this much more powerful. For example, what I did with this particular GPT, which I created earlier, let me see if we can go back to that. Explore. Okay, 4.0 is the model. Let's try one more time. I am hopeful it works. If not, we'll come back. Let's try one more time. Let's try one prompt like this. Can you browse the web using 4.0 model and study the website of IELTS? Now, this if everything goes well, it should work because it says, would you like to go ahead and browse IELTS.org? So let's see what happens. There we go. It looks like I don't have live browsing turned on in this exact environment, even though Academic Assessor has listed it as a capability, which means there is some problem. It is recognizing the fact that it is listed as an ability here, but it's not working. So maybe it gets rectified in some time. But coming back to what I was saying before I open for questions now, this tab, this is the one that I created. What I was able to do when the web feature was working well was that I was able to get it to go to the website of SPSS, let's say for example, list down all the functions that it could do and add those functions automatically to this. So there were detailed lists of all the functions that were coming out. And if you want to see the exact version of how it is working, give me a list of all the tests you can do. So there we go. This is what it is capable of right now. Since again, I'm not from this particular domain, but for those of us who use them, the names are coming up on the screen. We have Man Whitney, Wilcoxon, Crystal Wallace, because all of this was added to its knowledge base. And I did not type these names, I remember distinctively, in the prompt. It learned them on its own by browsing through the web. Right. This is its current iteration that it is working on. After this, I've not been able to tweak it further. But that's what essentially GPTs can do. So, and from here, now they're moving more forward towards agent mode because that's where the transition is going to, as I have mentioned yesterday. But these are all the features of 5.0 in a nutshell. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can have some questions now. Please